a lot of clients, they see numbers, but they don't know what to do with them. Like, what does it mean? What can I do with these numbers to make sure that I'm strategic enough? I'm getting the most out of what PriceLabs can give me, especially the reporting part, the trends, all the information that you can find. So that's one of the biggest challenges.
Welcome to RevLabs by PriceLabs.
Welcome to another episode of the RevLabs podcast, your vacation rental revenue management podcast by PriceLabs. Today, I am with Joana Coelho from our team. She will just discover who she is, what she's up to, how she got into revenue management, any tips she has for you if you're managing a large portfolio. So let's go straight into it. Joana, how are you today?
Thanks, Thibault. I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's like a pleasure to share a little bit of my knowledge and what I've been through over these past years. It's been 11 years and counting since I've been doing revenue management. So yeah, pretty good. Excited.
And so where do I find you? Where are you based?
So I'm based out of Lisbon, Portugal, which hasn't been where I've been throughout my entire journey, but I've had some experience abroad in Qatar, which was very interesting, and also in Barcelona. But most of the time, yeah, I've been here in Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah,
that's fantastic. So lots of you're dropping all these hints, and I'm very curious. So let's get started. I don't know. Take it away. Where did you grow up, and how did you get into revenue management?
Yeah, so pretty much born and raised in Lisbon, and that's where I studied as well. From an early age, I fell in love with the hotel industry, hospitality. I literally have like videos of me as a kid where I'm literally introducing the room, super excited, and this is the bed, it has a hair dryer. So I've always loved hotels. It was like the most fun part of my trips with my family. So I knew from an early age that that's something that I wanted to follow. I didn't quite follow the operational part of it though. I've started with the reservation department. And that's where I got my first experience more into revenue management, managing reservations, checking prices, checking OTAs. And that was my first experience back in 2012, which I worked in a property management company here in Lisbon. And that was, brief experience. Then I joined this hotel chain, international one, and that's where I really got into revenue management. And I was still studying, and that's when I realized, okay, this is definitely what I want to follow. And ever since I've worked in revenue management, basically. And yeah, from that, just e-commerce as well, which is very much related to revenue. And that's, the beginning of my journey with revenue comes from there, basically.
At that moment, are you still in Portugal? You started traveling for work?
I was still in Portugal, yeah. Actually, my international experience came from the fact that the hotel chain that I worked with, it was bought by a big one, international. So they invited me to, that's when I went to Qatar. They invited me to, we're doing a rebranding in Qatar. Are you up for the challenge? And I was like 20-ish and okay, why not? Let's go. So that's when I went to Qatar, and I went there also as revenue manager, assistant revenue manager back then. And yeah, it was quite interesting. But that's when I started traveling. Yeah, after Qatar, then Barcelona, and then time to go back to Portugal, basically.
And overall, when you go compare, is there I don't know, it's going to sound weird as a question, but is there a national style to revenue management, or as in like, does it really vary from country to country, or it varies more from company to company? What would you say?
I think it's more related to how long the people that you're working with are in the business, because revenue management, it's still kind of fresh, and especially I did a rebranding. So there was no revenue management department prior to that. So if you're working with people that are like more the old school kind, then it's a bit of a challenge for sure. But it's really not up to, the country, the culture. It's simply the people that you work with. Are they familiar? Do they understand? And that's one of the biggest challenges in revenue. Actually, it's not just growing the numbers, it's implementing that culture, because it's really a culture that you need to make sure that people are aligned with what revenue management is and what it's all about. Yeah.
And so when you came back, so at what point did you chose to leave this hotel group, and what did you do?
Yeah, so the hotel group, I left because I wanted to do something different from hotel chains. I really liked it. It was super interesting, but I felt like I was a bit stuck, because everything that you want to do requires, going to someone, and then that someone needs to escalate to someone else. So many times I felt like we should do something like this now, because now it's the time, and then things would get lost in between getting approvals, getting discussed, and then we were not on time. So I felt a bit stuck in the procedure part. And for me, it was, I need something that gives me a little bit more freedom, to explore things, to not having to wait that much for an approval for something that I want to do, right? So that's when I joined a different company. And that company did revenue management outsourced, basically. So we did consulting, but the consulting was very hands-on. So people would, allow us to go into their systems, manage the entire pricing structure, anything related to OTA distribution, not only online, but even offline, corporate contracts, like everything they would hand over to us. So that's when I really felt the freedom to, okay, I'm the one in charge. So I will make the decisions. I will make it happen, which was exciting. Also a big challenge, because you have to do everything on your own. But that's one of the main reasons that I decided to leave, the big hotel chain, and just go more into this consultancy part.
And were you working mostly on hotel like revenue management at that point?
Yeah, most of our clients were like small boutique hotels. Well, usually the major chains don't have this outside company doing the revenue management. They have their own department and all of that. But we had a bit of everything, actually. We had boutique hotels, like luxury ones. We had hostels, but we also had some property management clients. And that's actually when I first heard of PriceLabs, because one of our clients was a property management company based out of the UK. And although they were not my clients, but I was covering for a colleague of mine, and they were her clients. So that's my first hands-on revenue management with property management. And it was actually with PriceLabs, which was very interesting.
So what made you want to join PriceLabs then?
Well, that was I already had one experience, second one, more freedom. And then I was like, you know what? This is the area that I love, but I want to do something different. Because revenue management is extremely exciting, but you also need to, explore what's out there. And I never worked with a tech company per se. I've worked with revenue management systems, not just PriceLabs, but other ones. So I was very interested to know, I have hotels, I have some experience in short-term rentals. What else can I do that's, still within revenue management, but something different? So that's when I started looking for a challenge, and PriceLabs just popped up, and super excited that I got to see that job opening offer, and that I managed to join the company. Yeah.
So today, what do you do at PriceLabs?
Well, I am part of the solutions consultancy department, which we do a bit of everything within the sales, like the whole sales journey. between someone that's heard of PriceLabs and wants to know more about it, someone that wants a demo, someone that wants to do a 30-day trial with us. So literally from the first contact to doing demos, doing onboarding, and then all that comes after that, which is, managing the account and the whole structure, the sales structure, pretty much. Of course, I don't do everyone. I'm, in charge of a specific market, which is the Portuguese-speaking market, which is mostly Portugal and Brazil. So yeah, we do a lot. Yeah, within the sales department mostly.
That means that you also get to travel, right? A
I
lot.
do. I
The
do
sales.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone keeps saying, "Oh, really? You work remotely? That must be so boring." Actually, no. First of all, I like working from home. But also we have, the best of both worlds, right? We stay at home, but then like I mentioned in the beginning, like tomorrow I'll be traveling, to the other side of the world. So it's very exciting. We do the events. Yeah, we have the, regular office work with calls, emails, meetings, but then we have this part which is extremely exciting, and that's when we travel the most. Yeah, for the events.
So you travel to get to see users, and let's talk a bit about the revenue management side. So um, when you look at people who have, for example, more than 100 listings, more than 100 listings, I don't know, is there like a regular mistake that people make all the time, or which is just, it just happens, and you're like, yes, that's one I want to mention. If you're listening to this, make sure you're not doing this.
Yeah. Do you want to know more about overall scaling business or more related to PriceLabs and people that want to start using PriceLabs and have a large portfolio?
Sure, people who want to use PriceLabs.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, one of the biggest challenges that I face and the clients face is that, oh, I have a revenue management system now. Click, click, bye bye. It will do everything for you. Well, not quite. So, of course, it's all about making sure that whatever is a basic configuration, it's done. Of course, PriceLabs does a lot of things for you, and a lot of things are going to be automated, but it's not just about doing a first setup and let it be. Especially if you have a large portfolio, you need to make sure that you know your numbers. You are monitoring what's going on. It's not just PriceLabs doing the work for you. Of course, it does the pricing, which saves a lot of time. It manages, length of stay settings, but you really need to get the most out of a revenue management system, not just let it do the pricing, but there's so many things that you can look at. Now going to my past experience, and this is something that always stuck in my mind, was one of my former bosses. He said, you see the numbers, but the numbers need to speak to you. So a lot of clients, they see numbers, but they don't know what to do with them. Like, what does it mean? What can I do with these numbers to make sure that I'm strategic enough? I'm getting the most out of what PriceLabs can give me, especially the reporting part, the trends, all the information that you can find. So that's one of the biggest challenges. But then again, that's why me and rest of the team are here for, to guide you and help you and making sure that you get the most out of PriceLabs. Yeah.
That's great. And if people want to get to know you better or find you online, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Well, usually LinkedIn. I'm kind of active on LinkedIn, so if you just search for my name, even just Joana Pires Coelho, at least for now, I'm the only one in the company with that name. So yeah, I'm more than happy to connect, reach out, and then we can, get in touch. I also have emails, but the first and best way to find me overall would be through LinkedIn, for sure.
Joana PriceLabs on LinkedIn. That's very easy.
Exactly. Just search for the red hair, you're going to see the picture. You'll know. like a kind of brand that I have, which is a a fortunate coincidence because I already had the the hair like this, and it's the color of PriceLabs. Who knew?
Exactly. So if you're just listening to this on a podcast with no video, indeed, watch for the red hair on LinkedIn for the people.
Yes.
You can see. Thank you so much for your time and your advice, Joanna. It was good to get to know you better.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you so much for having me. Super fun.
A great day. Cheers.
You
See ya.
too. Cheers.